Okay, and then just transitioning. Again, we've been in the top 10 in the country in the red zone the last 2 years. Um, it goes back to the very first thing we talked about when we say attack for 60 minutes. We're aggressive. We want sevens, not threes. Um, so when we get down there in the red zone, it is an aggressive mindset. Um, we want to run our absolute best stuff. And like I talked about earlier, we're going to have about 18 calls usually total, so around 9 run, 9 pass. And there may be a couple specials in there, of just this is a red zone thing that we like. Maybe it's a little bit more, whatever it is, quarterback run, they'll talk about it in a little bit. Whatever it is, it's just we're going to be aggressive, and we're going for broke down there. It's important, that your head coach is on board and communicating fourth down calls. It just helps you immensely as a play caller. If you're a head coach that calls the plays, then know ahead of time, okay, what is the scenario where I'm going to go for it? Coach Eck does a great job with us of letting me know ahead of time, so that I can know with my third down call if I need to make if it's 3rd and 10 and he tells me, hey, 4th and 7 or more, we're going for it anyway. It's going to change. I might call a run or a screen or something just to try and get us into more 4th and manageable. If it's 3rd and 10 and he says, well, we're only going for it if it's 4th and 2 or less, now I'm more likely to call a play, trying to pick up that first down. And I know, Rob Ash that works with, the analytics, that they provide a service for college football, CAI. It's really, I coached against Rob Ash in 2014 when I was at South Dakota State. And again, that was a game where they really had us on our toes. We had a better team, but it was a game that came down to us recovering an onside kick at the end, a shootout. And, I believe for that game, they were 7 of 8 on 4th down conversions. And really where they were getting us is it was 3rd and 10 and our D coordinator was calling, high defensive ends rushing up the field and that type of thing. And they had decided pregame, with their analytics that with them being the underdog, they were going to be aggressive and go for it a lot. Well, they kept getting themselves into more manageable conversions. And again, they were 7 of 8, I believe, on 4th down. And a lot of them, they weren't completing 4th and 10s. They were getting to, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, 4th and 4, 4th and 1, and then able to convert from there. So they, really a great job by them. And that was the first game where I'd really say the analytics or the lack of analytics really stood out, where I was like, geez, we were a lot better. I believe we had over 500 yards of total offense, but they played great situational football, and it really almost cost us the game in that scenario. So, just knowing what your philosophy is going to be, what you want to do helps the play caller immensely. Once you cross the 50, start thinking about scoring touchdowns. We're going to carry multiple shots throwing the ball to the end zone from the 50 all the way down to the 15. So even just like we're at the 25, we're not trying to, or the 20-yard line, we want to have plays where we're taking a shot to the end zone. Now, it's not necessarily sending all 4 guys to the end zone, but you want to be in a position where if it's there, you're taking that shot. And again, just it goes back, wanting 7s, not 3s, and being aggressive. And again, for us, we'll run our quarterback a lot more in the red zone. It's just a great way to gain a hat. Again, I've talked about it earlier, but we have not been a team that runs the quarterback a lot. But for me, that's the time, that, it's a critical situation. Big difference between getting 3 and getting 7. That may be a time to open it up and now that hit on your quarterback is worth that cost benefit analysis, compared to, 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line. Do you want to run your quarterback to start the game on your own 20, versus in the red zone? So, we'll do a little bit more of that. I always feel like we do some quarterback run with RPOs down there too, because it's an easier way, that he doesn't have to worry about, riding and coming off of an RPO and throwing the ball. I've talked about this already, but again, players, not plays. So we want to have our best wide receiver. Maybe it's a tight end, like who's great at that contested catch. Maybe you have a guy that's that's great in the open field, but then you get down in the red zone, he's not quite as effective just because of size or whatever it might be. So, who's your goal line fade guy? Who's your goal line slant guy? Who's your uh, you know whip route, double move type thing down there? Can be different guys. And then running back, who is our guy that can run through contact? Who's going to play really physical down there? So again, sometimes you may have a specific short yardage back. Um, so whatever it is, again, players, not plays of, we had a back that was really physical last year and he could make us right. He almost needed two guys to have to tackle him if it was inside the 5. He was not going to get tackled by one guy. And we knew that, and we ran the ball a lot down there because he was so darn good and so physical that just one guy was not going to be able to stop him when he could sniff that end zone. Our goal line pass, we really think two things. If we're working the front line, we want to throw the ball waist high and below. So the quarterback trying to keep the ball low on the front line of the goal line. We don't want tipped balls, leading to interceptions down on the goal line. We want to keep the ball low. And then when we work the back line, I always talk to the guys about helmet height and above. So just having it so it can be high and away, getting that ball over the first line of defense, so that you can have a clean throw towards the back of the end zone. And then again, have a menu of plays that you like down there, and then work them in camp and pull them out each week depending on what you're seeing. So again, maybe it's a cover 0 where it's all about blitz. Maybe it's cover 7, a soft zone defense where they're kind of that picket fence defense, 7 across the goal line. So whatever it is, and these I'm really talking about inside the 10, where all of a sudden there's extra hats. So it's a thing that you always have to analyze. What can we do? Maybe we can work some tempo. We hit a big play down in the red zone and we hit some tempo where they can't sub. Maybe they sub and then, you have a great running back that you can, motion out of the backfield and then he's one-on-one with a linebacker, But just you don't want to get into I've talked about it before, but again, we really believe in having that overage and then having a menu to pick from. So again, if we're working some type of double move down there, is that it's not something that we installed on a Tuesday. It's something that we worked in fall camp, and even if we haven't ran it in a month, we come back and we have banked reps. And again, it's all about just your players and having them feel confident, be able to play fast.